Hey everybody, what's going on? I wanted to do a year in review for Guitar Hero Live. I've done one for Rock Band 4, and it's been a really exciting year for rhythm gaming fans. Both of the well-known series, both Guitar Hero and Rock Band, have been resurrected this year, and it's kind of weird that they both came out at the same time again. But let's follow the year into that was 2015. But before we do that, we need to talk a little bit about the history of Guitar Hero Live, because I don't know if you guys remember, back in 2012, it was revealed through Kotaku that Guitar Hero 7, which it was called at that time, was actually under development by the studio Vicarious Visions. I actually had the honor of actually going and visiting those guys on a different game when they were promoting one of the Skylanders games back in the day. And this was after the story had broke, and I briefly asked them about Guitar Hero 7, and they said, don't believe everything you read. But according to the Kotaku article, they were trying to basically reinvent the Guitar Hero franchise and focus solely on singing and guitar playing. They were looking at reinventing the guitar controller so it would actually have 6 buttons instead of 5, similar to what Guitar Hero Live has. But instead of the strum bar, they're actually going to have strings. So you'd actually have to strum strings. And it turned out the whole development of the game was a disaster. And the game didn't, interestingly enough, feature any live crowds. Everything was animated, but they said the venues that they actually had created were like different for every song and would change based on what the player was feeling. And additionally, after the story broke, the game was canceled. There actually was leaked gameplay footage of the game. I've actually posted it on my channel in the description box below. If you guys want to check it out, it's pretty interesting. It's just like a menu screen, and it looks like a really early build of the game, possibly. But there were rumors that Metallica's song "Turn the Page" would be in there, Marcy's Playground "Sexy Candy" would be in there, as well as I think it was "The Darkness." I believe in a thing called "Love." So there was a lot of songs that were being reused that had been in previous Guitar Hero games, and then Activision checked in on the game after about a year in development and saw what a disaster it was and completely scrapped the game. And then in February of this year, rumors started to surface about new Guitar Hero and Rock Band games being in development. In an interview with Forbes magazine, Activision CEO Eric Hirschberg found that after 5 years without a game, the Guitar Hero brand still enjoyed high social media attention with over 10 million followers on their Facebook page. However, at that time, Activision realized they needed to reinvent the series so consumers would not consider it too much like the previous games. Also, since Neversoft was not really around anymore, they ended up going to Freestyle Games, who were best known for creating the critically acclaimed DJ Hero games, and these guys were tasked with reinventing the franchise. April 13th of this year, there was a teaser trailer released for an unannounced Activision game, which basically showed a band getting ready to go take the stage. The next day, they announced Guitar Hero Live. A lot of people assumed that it would be like another full band game, but they ended up announcing it was a guitar-only game that would later feature vocals as well. This change people noticed right away were the live crowds. No longer are there animated crowds, no longer able to customize your character. It's all about playing in front of live crowds and making you feel like you're a real guitar player. The other thing that people noticed right away is that the guitar controller was completely redesigned, featuring 6 buttons. So there was 2 rows of 3 buttons, and the game would do a better job of simulating what it's like to play actual chord shapes rather than previous games. It was also announced that none of your old instruments would work and none of your old DLC would work. Also, a bigger emphasis was placed on having more recent bands rather than having, a good variety of classic rock and hard rock songs. And that disappointed a lot of longtime Guitar Hero fans, including myself. The other thing that was announced too was Guitar Hero TV, which was like a live streaming music service, which allows you to play along to the music video of the song. Now, there was so much stuff being announced, and there's still a lot of questions left up in the air. And what was interesting throughout the entire development cycle of Guitar Hero Live when it was announced was they'd frequently, release new songs that were in the game. Like, oh, this song is going to be in the game, this song is going to be in the game, but they never really stated what would be on disc and what would be on GHTV. So whenever they had an announcement about upcoming songs that would be released for Guitar Hero Live, people scratched their heads and wondered, well, is it GHTV or is it GH Live? And thankfully, we had guys like Elliot from the Hero Feed who were able to actually look at each interview, look at the gameplay stills, and figure out which songs were on disc and which ones were actually on GHTV. As the game got further along in development, even from the start, it looked like a very polished game compared to Rock Band 4. And the other thing that was interesting is just before they released it, the price points were announced for this game, and it was significantly cheaper than Rock Band 4. It was retailed at $99 US for just the guitar and game bundle, and you could even get the 2 guitars and game bundle cheaper than you could get the actual guitar and Rock Band 4 game bundle, which left a lot of people scratching their heads. Now, the game launched on October 20th, 2 weeks after Rock Band 4 came out, And prior to launching, Activision said that their plan for this generation of Guitar Hero games was going to be just release this game and no more Guitar Hero games. And they basically were going to support it with releasing, weekly updates through the GHTV service. If you played the single player mode, you'll know that there's going to be no more DLC released for that mode, unfortunately. And they also revealed that, charting songs for GHTV takes about a day because they don't actually use real stems. The other thing that was interesting too is that when the game came out, it got about the same kind of critical reception that Rock Band 4 did. It scored about the same on Metacritic. A lot of people enjoyed the new guitar controller. They enjoyed the new GHTV service. They said it's very innovative, but a lot of people criticized it for the number of microtransactions, and they also criticized it too for having a poor set list for on disc. So when the game launched on October 20th, it was available for 3 times the number of platforms that Rock Band 4 was out on. So it was available on the last gen consoles, it was available on this current gen, including the Wii U, as well as the iOS as well. So it was playable on Apple TV, it's playable on your iPhone, your iPad, your iPod. I actually did a full review of the iOS version as well. And a lot of gamers noticed that the iOS version's online component was missing a lot of the core features that were present on the console version. So you couldn't rank up, you couldn't play premium shows. You'd have to pay for any on-demand content. You couldn't use any in-game currency you'd accumulate, and that disappointed a lot of players. But that was recently added and upgraded, from my understanding. So now, if you are on the iOS, you actually can, get all the features that the console players can currently use as well. And then, as well, the game came out. It was number 11 on the NPD sales tracking charts for October. It was 1 spot behind Rock Band 4, so the game sold pretty well. Activision mentioned that in a sales earnings call a few weeks ago as well. And after release, every week, Activision has been supporting the game with weekly content updates in the way of new premium shows. And they also released a new mode called Rivals, which is like a classic 1 versus 1 Guitar Hero competitive kind of play. That basically does it for the year in review, guys. I want you to tell me, what are some of your more fond memories of this year in the world of Guitar Hero Live? Comment in the section below. And make sure you subscribe to my channel for all things rhythm gaming related. Take care.